All right.
Um, yeah, I've also noticed that like I consistently have this problem where my levels are way louder than either of your guys' levels.
Yeah. Well, but lately you've been doing some balance, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
post
Well,
editing.
so I've turned the gain down on my mic even more. I'm going to make a
Okay.
I'm going to make a conscious effort to not be yelling into the microphone like I was drunk last week, so I'm not shouting into our listeners' ears.
Well, that's part of your
I
character
could,
and
yeah, I can never
charisma.
imagine a soft-spoken James.
I don't know how
Guys,
to take that.
no, like you're very you're a leader, man.
All right,
Wait,
well,
do you
let's.
just assume leaders are like loud?
They're not soft-spoken.
Maybe a soft-spoken leader.
Yeah. What about
Uh,
like Steve Jobs? He was a pretty soft spoken dude.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
He's not. He's not the first thing I think of when you say leader. Steve
Well,
Oh.
who's the first thing you think of when you say leader?
George Washington.
What?
All right, good. Welcome to the Good Games Podcast. My name is James.
I'm Leo.
And I'm John.
Today we are going to be talking about Black Mirror Bandersnatch, and you may
Bandersnatches.
Bander-
Wait,
Okay,
I
what's the
believe
actual name?
it's Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
said it.
Okay.
I believe a drunk me yelled Bandersnitches bitches at the end of last week's podcast. But the actual title of the Netflix television special is Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Is it? I guess it's still television, even though it's Netflix, right?
I mean,
I watched it
Netflix
on
is
TV.
basically the new television.
Right. Yeah. 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 I guess there's kids growing up who just think television means Netflix and Hulu and
Sure.
like streaming services.
That's
That's
Yeah.
all it is.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively the same thing, man.
Yeah, I guess. It's just a weird thing I just realized.
Hmm.
Anyway, you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Black Mirror, Bandersnatch, that's definitely not what I think of when I think about a video game. And it's sort of a weird interactive special that Netflix did that is like kind of sort of skirts the borderline between interactive movies and video games, wherever you want to draw the line between those two things. Uh, but also, the themes in it are about video games. And you know what? We're going to talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about on the Good Games podcast. So today we're talking about Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite interactive stories later in the show. But first, what did you guys think of this special from Netflix?
I thought it was weird. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was unique enough that it was pretty good.
All right, weird
Okay.
but pretty good. Leo?
I thought it was interesting,
Uh-huh.
and it was a very unique idea,
Uh-huh.
and I thought it was what's the way to say this? It was like technically very well done. Like it impressed me from a technical perspective.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I can see
um,
that. Yeah.
as far
It,
as
it was very seamless the way Netflix did
yeah,
it. Everything was very fluid and yeah. Mhm.
yeah, well, and that surprised me. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what to expect there.
It did me
Uh,
too. It did me too, only because you have to think about there's so many different platforms that this is streaming
right,
to. Like the
right,
user could be watching this on their TV, on a browser, on their smartphone, on a game console, whatever, and this all has to work exactly the same way for all of them.
exactly.
Um,
And in a way where like it's a movie, right? And
yeah,
so the fact that you have to see some of the same like parts again, they do that in a
yeah,
way where it's not terribly laborious to go through those scenes again.
right.
They kind of speed through them. But I just thought I appreciated it a lot as a gamer, like the little references they did, but overall
Yeah.
entertainment value was a little low for me.
Okay. Yeah, and what we're talking about, Leo and I are talking about, is basically it's an interactive movie. It's like a choose your own adventure sort of thing, and every so often a choice will come up on the screen, so you can, like if you think of a choose your own adventure book. So, for example, you might choose to go left or right, or pick up the sausage or throw it in the trash can, whatever. um, and those choices come up every so often while you're watching this interactive movie, and the choices to some degree affect what happens in the movie. I thought this was I was entertained by it, but also I didn't get what the point of it was. It seemed really incoherent, like really incoherent. um, I guess we should also just give the basic premise of this. It's kind of hard to describe the plot because by its nature, the plot forks out into a million different directions, right?
Yeah,
But the basic premise is that it follows this 19-year-old game programmer, Stefan something. What's his last name?
I don't know.
Stefan Butler.
Butler, sure.
Myers. I think it's Stefan Butler. He's a 19-year-old game programmer who is trying to get a job and get his first game shipped, and who also has this really awful relationship with his dad because he blames his dad for this tragedy that happened to his mom when he was a kid. And that's kind of the basic premise of this. And then the story just branches out into a million different directions.
Well, kind of. I don't know. I think without spoiling too much, there
Mhm.
is sort of a main story that kind of, like no matter what choices you make, there is kind of like one
Really?
true ending.
Really? Okay,
I
I
feel
want
that way.
what is the one true ending here
Well,
in
no,
your
well, just
eyes?
saying what you said, and I don't want to. I mean, are we going to go full spoilers on this?
We might as
Is
well.
there anything else we have to say before we go full spoilers?
I
All right, spoilers ahoy! Here we go.
Okay, you've had your
Listen at
spoiler
your own
warning,
risk.
listeners. Yes.
Yeah.
So to me, the overarching story is this book, and it's basically almost like a haunting tale about whoever reads the Bandersnatch book and becomes addicted to this idea of creating their own thing or whatever, ends up getting like sucked into this thing with the symbols and everything. It's almost like to me, it's almost like this symbol, this thing, the Bandersnatch. It's almost like this entity that takes over whoever. Because then, like after the girl gets the book next or whatever, and she starts working on something, and she starts.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're just describing one ending, though.
Okay, I don't
Like
know. Well, to me,
there,
that was like the ending. I don't know. That sounds
well, there was endings that have like nothing at all to do with that, and that's what I mean. That it comes off as like really incoherent because I made an effort to go back. Did you guys all do this? Did you go back and try to watch just about all of the endings?
I think I got all of the endings in my first playthrough.
Yeah. I
mean,
think.
there's definitely some short endings earlier on or whatever, like just kind of random things ways that the story ends.
You
Yeah.
can end a game in like 3 choices. You could
Right.
pick-
Yeah.
Right.
build the
Yeah.
game with the whole team, and then you got a mediocre game. And here,
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
first ending I got. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just about everyone does that. Yeah, you end the game in 3 choices, and the game's like, no, it's not supposed to go this way.
Yeah.
Like, try again. Game over. Try again.
The only ending that actually gets credits and stuff is the one that I was talking about, right?
No. There's at least 2 endings that have a credit roll on them.
Oh, okay.
there's apparently a secret ending too.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some whole weird AR thing where like they display a QR code on the screen, and you can scan this QR code, and it opens a URL, and you point your browser to this URL, and you download a game, and this whole meta thing.
That's a bit cool.
I didn't do any of that. I know I was aware that it's a thing, but I didn't do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I feel like we didn't do our jobs as reviewers then.
I kind of. I was kind of unimpressed with, like, it was entertaining, but like I don't think this has anything to say about anything, and I don't think this is like coherent enough to warrant any more interest in like me downloading this, or I guess it's just a web-based game, like playing this web-based game and getting the ultra secret ending or whatever. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, this did not interest me enough to do all that garbage. I felt this thing was like devoid of meaning. Like, this kept bringing up video games but had like nothing to say about them. It's like, look, our entertainment special is kind of like a video game. So, video games, video games, video games. But you didn't, like, it kind of got under my skin in a weird way that this had nothing to say about all these things it was aping, and like also was like wildly incoherent from ending to ending. Like, I don't know, because like a bunch of Black Mirror episodes I've watched, and then like they get you to think like, oh wow, that's interesting. Like, would I do that in this situation? Like,
Yeah,
what
no,
if this technology
this was not that. This
Well, I
didn't do any
think
of that.
I think maybe the message there is that playing a video game and creating a video game are two different experiences, right? Because one, you're controlling the outcome. The other, you have essentially what the main character is saying is he has no control over his own outcome.
Okay, I
That's
guess.
deep. That's deep.
I guess, but like, there's so many endings that have nothing to do with that. That's what I mean, like the incoherency. And maybe that's what a choose your own adventure is by its nature, I guess. But I actually no, because there's like really coherent choose your own adventures. We'll get into my top 5 later. Like, this was just kind of all over the place, and I felt like as soon as I finished watching this episode, I'd immediately just, like, it was just out of my mind. Like, it was entertaining while I was watching it, but like as soon as I turned it off, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on to do something else now. Like, it didn't stick with me at all.
Right. No, I don't think that it made a stamp in my memory as this really awesome thing that made me think a lot or anything like that. It wasn't mind-blowingly good. But it has gotten a lot of attention, and I think the most interesting thing about it was just the fact that it's even a thing, technically speaking,
Okay,
on
sure.
Netflix and stuff. So I think that has a lot of merit for like what kinds of things we'll start seeing in the future. But and basically they just kind of threw out, hey, video games, and
Well, yeah,
so
because they brought up like, oh wow, like in these games, it's not always about giving the player choices. Sometimes it's the illusion of choice that the player wants, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's something I've noticed in games before.
it's a
But
deep thought.
they don't like, they just bring that up and then don't go anywhere with it. Like, they bring
Well-
that up, that it's a thing, and then say nothing about, like, there's nothing to say there.
I think they're clearly pushing you to a certain ending that has the best result for the game's review when you complete the game, right? Because like that line that you're talking about where choice is an illusion, and like players don't actually want choice, or they want it to be deep also. Like, you could see that when the game gets slightly better and better reviews the further you get in the ending hierarchy. And I think maybe that's what they're trying to say is, you want the best possible ending, which is the most choices.
If you think of it that way, isn't that kind of what like James is playing to that narrative perfectly, right? It's like he wanted something deeper and something more of a one overarching ending rather than like really the choice of endings.
Yeah, but I guess you could think of it like that. Like,
Not even a choice of different endings. You can have a bunch of different endings. The different endings don't intertwine at all. There is no central message. None of the endings correlate with any of the other endings. It's just like nonsense for the sake of nonsense. Like,
Maybe,
do you know what I
that's
mean?
how they think life is. Like, life is, if you make the wrong choice, you get hit by a bus randomly.
I think that's pretty Black Mirror-esque, isn't that? Like, is a lot of the shows don't really have like a strict, like, open hard message. It's like, this was pretty weird.
It's nuanced.
This would be like this dystopian future that is not going to happen.
You gotta
I
get
don't know.
high. You gotta get high
feel
and
like-
watch this stuff.
Well, I did that in one of the endings in Bandersnatch.
Yeah, that was a great
Yeah,
ending.
anyway.
The one where you jump
Yeah,
off
but that has nothing to do with anything. That was like one of the stupidest endings. Was you take drugs with this guy, he rambles on and on about how like Pac-Man is this allegory for like the government's putting drugs in our food, man. Like, whoa, you're not in control of your life at all. And then he kills himself, and then that's it. And then you go back and get another ending that has nothing to
Dude,
do with what he was talking about?
I was convinced that he was right, and I wanted to see what would happen if you killed yourself. I thought like there would be
Wait,
a
like in
deeper
real
story
life?
there. No, I made the choice in the show.
And that's
Oh.
exactly what feels so frustrating about this, is because there is no coherency between any of the endings. Like, there is no, like, none of the endings have anything to do with anything. Like, they just ramble on about something stupid and then, like, the end.
Yeah, but I thought that ending was he ends it abruptly with that because he wants him to see that when it restarts, he still kind of remembers it happening or something.
Also, he goes missing for the rest of the story.
That's what I'm
until-
saying. Yeah, I thought that was
He goes
part
missing
of
for the rest of the
narrative.
story depending on which paths you take. It's not conditionally he's just missing now.
Yeah, but it's almost like they wanted you to pick the ending where he kills himself. So
Yeah, no, I
then
thought that was
further
part of
on,
the
you would
overarching
understand
narrative. Yeah,
why he was missing.
right. Like choosing that ending is part of the actual ending.
Yes.
Is what I'm
There
saying.
is no ending. There is at least two endings where, if you're trying to say there's a real ending, like what's the real the secret one where you download the QR code and point your browser to the thing, or is it one of the two endings where the credits roll?
I thought it was the ending where the girl gets the book and stuff and the credits roll.
No, that
But-
wasn't the true ending. There was an
What's the true ending? That's what I mean.
The true ending-
This conversation that we're having right now is exactly my point. That there is
Yeah.
nothing has anything to do with anything. It's just incoherent, and that's frustrating to me.
the true ending is the one with the longest path of choices.
Why? Just because you say so?
Just because you get more, you get the most, because you get most of the story from the longest path of choices.
Okay, maybe that's what the ending means to you. I don't know. That's it.
You know
You
what?
get the
But maybe
most
that's what it
information from
means. Maybe what it means is that to everyone, every ending can be their ending. You know?
I'm pretty sure you guys are just ascribing qualities to this dumb show that don't actually exist. I think it's just. I mean, it's a technically cool thing that is kind of entertaining, but it's ultimately devoid of meaning. There is nothing there to dig into. There's just nothing there.
I think part of it is it's very ambitious, and I think if they tried to do like a true like mind-blowing impressive thing, that it would be like way out of budget, way out of scope. It would like be impossible to film.
I think it's technically ambitious, but not creatively ambitious, right? Because we've had choose your own adventure stories were popular in like the 70s and 80s, right? Like there's nothing like you can just say like oh, I want to adapt a choose your own adventure to like a streaming service, and that's a very technically ambitious goal, but there's nothing creatively ambitious about that. You're not telling any new stories. You're not making any commentary on the format. You're not making any commentary on video games. Like that's what I was looking for, and that's what is not there.
No. I mean, I would agree with that. It's pretty shallow in terms of the story
Yes,
itself.
that's my point.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's my opinion of it as well. As deep as we want to try to get with it, and that's why I said you kind of have to take drugs to really think about this any deeper than it really goes, because it really isn't that deep in the end. But again, yeah, I totally agree. From a technical perspective, it's just probably the best done choose your own adventure in this medium.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And I think that has a lot to say for what we might see in the future. We'll find out.
Sure.
One thing I did find interesting, aside from, well, it really kind of has something to do with the technical seamlessness of it, I guess. I'm kind of wondering what other sorts of things this opens the door for. Like this got a little bit of hype just because it was a Black Mirror associated release, which Black Mirror is really like the show like has kind of non-sequential episodes that are all sort of technology related. And I don't know, I feel like enough people saw this and were impressed with the technical side of it, and I guess kind of I would say like the possibilities there, that I wonder if we could potentially see more interactive things in like the Netflix space.
I think we definitely will. I think that's what Netflix is planning. This was a pseudo pilot for a bunch of interactive stuff.
Yeah.
There's a Minecraft movie called Minecraft Story Mode that you can actually play through Netflix, and it sounds
that's just a video game. That's a Telltale game.
It sounds like the Telltale game, but it's actually an interactive Minecraft.
What? Are you shitting me? They use the same name as the Telltale game?
Yep, and they have the same icon on the show
What?
that you see in Bandersnatch. It's the little
What the fuck? Oh,
star.
you're
and
right. Look at all this. Oh, yeah.
There's a few of them out there actually, not just Minecraft. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they're more
Yeah.
geared towards kids, and I don't think there's necessarily as widespread of endings as
Oh,
that
yeah.
as Bandersnatch,
Look at
because I think that's
this.
just insane technical
Huh,
achievement to
wow.
do.
I was unaware of this. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Nice.
So-
Well, yeah, I guess it just didn't blow up like Bandersnatch did, I guess.
Yeah,
Right,
again,
yeah,
you know,
'cause-
Bandersnatch had a lot of hype because it had the Black
Right.
Mirror name on it, I think. And,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
but like, I think that if something in the future, I mean, it could be anything. It could be just some like rom-com, you know, with who's a good rom-com actor? Owen Wilson.
Sleep with Owen
And-
Wilson.
yeah,
Reject
and-
Owen Wilson.
I think we're gonna start seeing this snowball, and there's gonna be more and more sort of like interactive and AR blended tech. You know, like it's gonna bleed into both things. Like I don't know. I think eventually games will just be a thing of the past.
We're converging to a single median.
Yes, yes.
You guys are both fucking crazy. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Also, I like that the first idea you came up with was make out with Owen Wilson, yes, no.
What I mean is not a rom com. That's basically what it is, right?
So, before we move on, did you guys do one of my favorite endings, or it wasn't even an ending, it was just one of the choices. Did you guys get in a fight with your therapist?
Yeah.
yeah. That was awesome.
I loved the choice between like, are you gonna fight her? And it was like, yeah, of course, or like, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, let's go. And then it
Yeah.
becomes like a ridiculous action movie where you're like whipping out nunchucks and fighting this. It was, yeah.
That was kind of silly. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed just the absurdity of that moment.
What about what is like what are you? And you have to pick Netflix or PAX.
Yes,
or
that
something
also
like
was good. Yeah, that's
And
also
then you have
good.
to explain Netflix to the kid.
Yeah, it was sort of interesting. Like, it was interesting and frustrating because it's like acknowledging that it's on a streaming service and it's breaking the fourth wall and becoming very meta.
Yeah, that was
But
so
ultimately goes nowhere with that. Like, ultimately has nothing
Yeah.
to say by doing it's. There's just nothing there.
It's just kind of like it's just like a, you know, like one of those cheesy action movies that are terrible, but when you're watching them, it just you kind of get sucked in, like especially if you see them in the theater and just the explosions and at the end you go like, what was that really about? Nothing, but it was like fun during it, you know?
Yeah, no, it was entertaining. I'm not saying it's not entertaining. I'm just I don't know. For Black Mirror, which has had
I'll
some
never
pretty
watch it again.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm never going to go revisit this. But for Black Mirror, which has had some pretty smart episodes, I did not think this was among them.
Yeah, no, that is true. Like the weird thing about this whole thing is that it even has Black Mirror like in the name. It's kind of.
Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty appropriate because Black Mirror always talks. You know, it's sort of technology taken to like its most extreme dystopian version of itself. Which I don't know. This seemed fitting to be an experiment with streaming technology. It seemed fitting that it was a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's just that
Mhm.
I guess I'm used to a certain caliber of complex and
Right.
deep thought invoking story with Black Mirror episodes.
Right.
This was not that. This was more kind of just like pure octane fun, I guess.
Cool. All right. Anything else with Black Mirror Bandersnatch?
What about the ending? Like the true ending? Like
Fuck off! There is no true. We just established that there's not a true ending.
What about like in the line of thought of deep thought provoking parts of the show, like the ending I'm referring to is the one where he goes back in the past and he changes the train or whatever, and that's kind of how it ended. Did you guys get that?
Yes.
Wait, I got that. That wasn't the longest one.
That was.
No, that was before the ending that I was talking about.
John's just undone his own criteria for the true ending.
Wait, are you sure?
I'm 100% positive. I remember going back in time and he was the kid, and he went with his mom or whatever, and
Yeah.
then it ended. And then if you go back and then the girl gets the book or something, right?
No, that's the second ending. That's the one before that. The mom
Oh my
being
god,
saved.
I don't know.
All right, all
Because
right.
you know the girl is the daughter of the guy who killed himself, or the one who the lead programmer, the one who built all the cool games.
Right. So the true ending is that you go back in time and you live with your mom, and she lives happily
Yeah.
ever after.
No,
Right?
no, 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 no. They both die. Neither of them live.
Oh, I guess both
Oh,
of them did die, didn't they?
oh, they're both.
Yeah, that's your true ending. Is they both die.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why I
So
didn't
isn't
think it was the true ending.
that? I mean, that is kind of deep in itself, right? Because you have no choice, basically. You can't save your mom ever.
I,
You can choose to
I
die with her.
guess.
All right.
So,
Sorry.
so kids in life, you can either live without your parents or choose to die with them. That's it.
No, kids. No, life is a lot more complex than that.
You can make a video game and sell it.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. And it can get 5 out of 5 stars.
And you can get high and kill yourself, and that's life, man. That's one of life's many endings.
I suppose you're technically right. All right. God. Our top 5 player influence stories is our top 5 today. My number 5 player influence story. Say what you will about Quantic Dream. They get. I think their games have gotten progressively worse and progressively less relevant over time, but I really liked Heavy Rain when it came out for the PlayStation 3. Heavy Rain is a interactive thriller mystery sort of thing where you're tracking down this serial killer who leaves behind these weird origami animals.
Origami
I guess
killer.
Yes, he is known as the origami killer. And you're bouncing between 3 different characters who all have their different motivations and who are all trying to track down the origami killer. It's pretty campy. It gets pretty ridiculous, but I quite enjoyed this game.
I love that game. All right, I'll go second.
Leo, what you got?
So number 5 was by I think it was Telltale Games. It's called The Wolf Among Us.
Yeah.
This was probably the longest Telltale game I played. Like I actually played through like all of the parts, and it was really interesting. Like the theme is that you're the big bad wolf in a sort of a weird sort of modern version of the fairy tales, but so the wolf is like kind of like it's like a werewolf dude, right? So you're a detective, and they're more humanoid, and then all the other characters from these like fairy tales and stuff are involved, and there's been a murder, and you're effectively trying to figure out who the killer is and stuff. There's all these cool choices. And Telltale makes a lot of these games. I wouldn't be surprised if we had several Telltale games amongst our 5 lists here. But I think this is probably my favorite of the Telltale games. So yeah, it's also pretty adult for as much as I just said it was like fairy tales and stuff. There was appreciative amounts of like gore and like mature themes and stuff. So not for the kids.
John, what you got?
Cool. My number 5 is Near Automata, which is kind of borderline choose your own adventure because really you have to go through the ending sequentially.
Yeah, this is kind of a linear game, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can continue playing that game and getting the ending that you want. And I was surprised how deep it was because I got to the first ending and then pretty much stopped and then saw several other ones. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
All right, good. I don't think that really meets the criteria, but It's a good game. I agree with you that it's a good game.
Well, the problem I have with this genre is I don't think I've played a ton of choose your own adventure. So like the other ones on my
Oh.
list are probably more appropriate. But
Okay, that's fair. Hey, you know what? Nier Automata is still a really good game, so you get a
Sure.
pass.
Sure.
A for effort.
Now that I think of it, I guess Nier Automata technically you do influence the last decision you make does technically influence the story without spoiling anything. But yeah,
See,
other
that's
than
the
that,
future of interactive choices.
Well,
Save
and
it to one big
also,
choice at the end.
doesn't the subsequent endings completely change the meaning of the rest of the story too? Like,
yeah, but it's
you
just a
learn
linear game. It like you
you
just play through that game straight for like there are no diverging paths. The decisions don't affect anything except for the very final one,
but
right?
Well,
you could
so it's
you could choose to stop at a certain ending and accept that as the actual
right.
ending,
It's the
right?
illusion. It's the
Well,
illusion of choice, James. The illusion.
I can go play Super Mario right now for 5 minutes and then turn it off and be like, all right, that's my ending. Like, you can do that with any game.
Well,
You know, I've done that though.
in the original Mario games, like you can end on some castles, right?
Well,
You just turn the game off. You can
you
end
just
wherever
stop
you
playing.
want.
Yeah, and I've totally done that. I've played games where I'm like, I think I'm done with it right there. That's where I'm going to stop. So, the illusion of choice, man.
I don't think that's what that means. My number 4 is also The Wolf Among Us. It is my favorite of Telltale's catalog. And I think the thing I will mourn the most about Telltale Games closing is that we will probably never see The Wolf Among Us 2, which is
Yeah.
a shame. Um, I really liked that game's. Like the first thing I think about when I think about that game is that game's color palette. It was
Yeah.
like these like purples and pinks, and I don't know. It was probably the peak of because that studio's games kind of got to a point where they all sort of looked the same. But I think this was the peak of that game's engine and the art style meeting to produce something that was actually pretty good to look at. But yeah, no, that game was really good. I liked it. I liked its characters. I liked me a good murder mystery. I think that's a that's a common through line in my top 5. A lot of these are
yeah, good point.
murder mysteries of some kind. Leo, you're number 4.
Yeah, my number 4, I guess it might be murder mystery-esque, is 999.
Ah, nice.
We've talked about this one before, James. I forgot
Yes, we have.
where, but
Mm-hmm.
look at X episode for James's choice on that. It's got just a myriad of choices in that game and multiple different endings, and you're kind of encouraged to try different endings and everything. It's a game that's completely architected around player interaction, and that makes it really interesting. I will say that like there's multiple sequels to 999. I think we probably talked about that before. And they get more and more technically efficient at the whole multi-ending player choice thing. But to me, 999, just the first game, is just the one that really, I don't know, hit home for me like that. It's a little bit more cumbersome in execution, but I don't know. For me, that's the best of the series. Just the very first one.
Cool. So my number 4, The Witcher 2. And big fan of the Witcher series. Been playing it since the first game. I have not finished the third game, but I think
What?
The Witcher 2 is a game that is kind of a sweet spot for, I guess, storytelling per se. Even though Witcher 3 did a pretty good job as well. But there's like one mechanic that didn't translate to The Witcher 3, which is the choose your own path kind of choices that you make in that game. And that, to be fair, The Witcher 3 being hugely open world as it is, it's kind of hard to do both.
Yeah.
So there was one sequence in The Witcher 2 that I remembered very early on where you get to fight the dragon, and I remember looking it up later and finding out that there was a choice where you could completely avoid that fight, and I thought that was really interesting because that's a big part of like my memory of that game, and like the fact that you can skip it altogether was pretty crazy. And then way later on, like one of the endings I got was the you fight this other Witcher and when you beat him, you kind of like like ride your horse like in the distance, and the story kind of ends. And I thought that was like a really cool ending, but I didn't realize that wasn't the actual ending. And like I've been wanting to go back and play it.
What's the actual ending, John?
I don't
Is it the
know.
one where you made the most choices?
Maybe.
The story continues on until it ends, and that's the true ending. But
I'm
yet
just
again,
screwing with you,
see,
John.
the thing about all these games is like if you feel that ending was right for you, that could be
There you
your
go.
ending.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was satisfied with that ending, so
Yeah,
I
and
don't
so
know.
that's it. That's the ending for you. You know.
I guess.
My number 3, I was very satisfied with my ending. My number 3 is Mass Effect 2. I love this game very much. I love, I don't know, being a space captain and doing cool space captain stuff and just role playing what that's like. Role playing, making all these, decisions like, oh, do you spare this race and leave them alive even though they're a danger to the galaxy, or do you kill them in cold blood even though that may or may not be the right thing to do. I love all those role-playing decisions, talking with all your crewmates. My fun story about the ending of this game, so I finished Mass Effect 2 and I was like, wow, that was pretty fun, that was cool. And I was talking to my friend and he finished the game and he's like, oh my god, the ending's so sad. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the ending of Mass Effect 2 where like all your party members die. I was
Yeah, I
like,
remember that ending.
excuse me? I was like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, all my party members died. I was like, not a single one of my party members died. So there's like this gauntlet you play through at the end of Mass Effect 2 where you have to make a bunch of decisions, assign a bunch of your party members to do certain tasks.
Yeah.
And apparently I just happened to pick all the right people to do all the right things and just did everything perfectly, such that I wasn't even intentionally doing this, but I got the ending where nobody died on my first try, I guess, just accidentally.
Well
And
done,
yeah,
sir.
my friend got an ending where just about all of his crew died. I was like, oh, that sucks. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I think my ending was closer to that. Like, I definitely
Yeah.
significant portion of my party died.
Which, yeah, I didn't even realize that like the endings could vary that much. I was like, oh wow, like no, nobody died for me.
Yeah. My number 3 is also Mass Effect 2.
Ah, nice.
And I mean, yeah, you pretty much nailed it. This is one of those games that just gelled with me in terms of atmosphere and art style, and just like the whole overhaul like space opera sort of feel. And but Mass Effect 2 in particular was really cool, dealing with like the party members and and it had some really difficult choices. or I guess some of the choices were supposed to be difficult, but there's definitely certain characters. The cool thing about the Mass Effect games is that the characters are developed really well. So I definitely didn't like some characters. And so I would totally sacrifice them over
Who didn't you like?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
the one dude who's, I forget what the race is, but they're like, they have the really big hunchbacks. He's like really rude. It's called
The guy who's not Rex.
yeah, but he looks a lot like him or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was his name?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rex.
Well, Rex was in the first one, right? And then it's
Well,
like
the
some
same
other...
race as Rex from first
right?
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh God, what the hell?
I got to a point in the game where I had to choose.
Krogan, yeah.
Yeah, it's Krogan. Yeah,
there you go.
He was a Krogan in the party. I forget his name.
Oh, Grunt. That's right.
Yeah. So
You didn't like Grunt?
I had to choose between him and like my love interest to save, and I was like, oh, like just sacrifice the Krogan, like I get him out of here.
Oh, poor Grunt.
Yeah, no, he was awful.
Poor Grunt.
Yeah. So, but that's cool. It's cool that a game, that has that well of a character development that you can feel that way. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I kind of want to play through Mass Effect games now again.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Just play the second one, maybe.
Yeah. I guess just skip the first one.
Yeah, and the third one, yeah.
The third one especially, yeah. I thought I liked the first one, I'm pretty sure. I just don't really remember it.
The first one, the story is fine. Just the mechanically, it's not quite as polished as the second or the third one.
Yeah, that's true. I would probably still be able to get through the first one despite that, and the second one, but I definitely don't want to play the third one.
Yeah. Everyone always complains about like, oh, the ending sucks in Mass Effect 3. Like because like all of the endings just converge to one point, and this here we go, Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Um, like the fact that all of the endings converged to one point didn't bother me at all, because like all of the choices I made along the way were still significant to me, because like I made choices, and people lived or died, and races lived and died, and I choose to save this person, not this person. Like all those things were very significant. Like the fact that the like final ending doesn't really change didn't bother me at all. So yeah, the illusion of choice was very effective for me in the third game. The thing I didn't like about the third game was just the rest of the story. The ending didn't bother me; just the rest of that game's story was.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you got, John?
Sure. My number 3 is
Mhm.
Catherine. So
Nice.
we had a whole podcast on that last week.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't have to go too much into it, but I guess from the story picking choices,
Uh-huh.
I think there's 8 endings. Also, characters live or die, which I don't know if we ever got to discuss about that in the last podcast.
That's true.
You did mention it a little bit and how you had to
Yeah,
baby stuff. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess one of the big, negatives about that game is like your last 3 choices are the most significant in that game, determining your
Right.
ending. But I don't know. I thought it was pretty good still.
All right, my number 2 is 999. Leo, we're right.
Dude,
We
wow.
are. Is our top 5s going to be exactly the same?
We might have 4 out of 5 of the same games.
Ooh. Oh boy. My number 2 is 999. We've talked about this game before on the podcast. For people who are new listeners, or don't remember what I was talking about, or fell asleep during our older podcasts. 999 is a kind of a visual novel, choose your own adventure with like some light puzzle elements in it. It's mostly a visual novel, and it's kind of a thriller. You wake up. It's kind of like if Saw. You remember the movie Saw? Well, how could anyone forget Saw? There's 17 of those movies, but it's kind of like if Saw was an anime, basically. You wake up in this warehouse, and you have no idea how you got there, but you're like trapped in this room, and then it becomes this whole thing where you're trapped with all these other people, and you have to figure out who's escaped or how to escape, and you have to figure out who's behind it and all their motives, and everyone in the thing is hiding these secrets, and you got to figure out what they all do. But you're also making these decisions like, oh, do you want to go through the door with this person, or would you rather go through another door with this other person?
Because like someone's the murderer in the group. That's
yeah. And directly in contrast, again, with Black Mirror Bandersnatch, all of the endings are extremely coherent. You actually have to get every ending in the game, which all kind of tie together, and all of the narratives weave together to get like the final ending.
Well, wait. What do you mean by coherent? I wouldn't say that they're super coherent, because isn't the murderer someone different in a lot of the other endings?
No.
I thought
no.
Yeah. You sure?
You can die to different people or to different things, but none of the characters like motivations or anything change. Like they're still all the exact same people.
Characters. Well, yeah. I guess. Yeah, I just thought the fact that you could die to different people to me was kind of like, this isn't the true ending. Like, it's just kind of an A ending, and this person, this ending, this person.
But my point is, you have to see all of each ending in 999 reveals a bit of truth about the true ending, and there is actually a true ending in 999. But in each whatever false ending contains a bit of truth that you need to piece together the final puzzle to reveal the true ending.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. I bet if if Bandersnatch or any other future, Netflix interactive thing followed the 999 structure, we're in for a treat.
Oh my god. And so also great. 999 plays with its format so smartly. Like it has like the whole choose your own adventure. I don't want to spoil anything, but the whole choose your own adventure format, the way they weave that into the narrative and into the theme of that game is really smart, and I liked that a lot.
It's like kind of almost like self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, it plays with its format in a very smart way, and it has a lot of things to offer that format. I don't know. It just had it had a bunch of really smart and creative ideas in a way that I felt that Black Mirror Bandersnatch did not have any of those ideas. It was just copy pasting a choose your own adventure from the 80s, which whatever, it's fine, it's entertaining. Anyway, I got off on a tangent. What's your number 2, Leo?
All right. Well, my number 2 is rated a lot higher than your number 5. It is Heavy Rain.
Oh, okay. Hey, we just got them in a different order. It's fine.
Right. No, we have a lot of the same games in different orders.
I can't believe our top 4s are exactly the same game.
So far, yes. So
yeah. By the way, for our listeners, we don't rehearse this. We don't talk about our lists. We don't share anything. We're just doing this, reacting live. Yeah. There's no pre-recording. We don't.
I know it's hard to believe because we're so
shocker. What a shocker! We don't rehearse this. What a shocker! We're not prepared at all. Wow.
Heavy Rain. Just man, I love that game so much, and I know it didn't age particularly well, but I don't know. I think maybe a part of it is nostalgia or something, but I like you said, I love a good murder mystery, and this like the twist and stuff got me, and I like the format a lot. I don't know, I thought it was really well done, but it was pretty campy and stuff too. So what are you gonna do?
Cool,
John?
Yeah, my number 2. It's a BioWare game, but it's not Mass Effect. It is Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
And yeah, that game probably.
Wait. Dragon Age 2?
Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
You don't believe it's a choose your own adventure game?
Tell me about Dragon Age 2.
Our criteria, by the way, our criteria for this list is top 5 player influenced stories.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a choose your own. Yeah, like most role playing games have a certain amount of decision making. So you know, whatever. Yeah. And I guess, you know what, I poo-pooed all over Nier Automata. I guess technically you do have some...
I mean, you have 26 endings in Nier Automata. It's really up to you to,
What? 26? What?
Yes, A through Z.
I thought there was like 5.
Nope, 26.
Oh.
I love the way you said that, John. Nope, 26.
I thought there was 5. All right, whatever. We're not talking about Nier Automata. We're talking about Dragon Age. What you got about Dragon Age? What did you like
Dragon
about
Age 2?
What did you like about influencing that story, Dragon Age 2?
Well, first of all, I played through that game multiple times, which is rarely said about most other games I play.
Mm-hmm.
And my first playthrough, I played through the entire game, and I skipped a character completely and had no idea. And I was, again, super satisfied with how I played through that game. The second time, I found out there's this pirate girl character that you meet, and she's like hilarious. And I'm like, I'm enjoying the game again because she has all these lines with the other characters that I did not experience the first time around.
Interesting.
And there's like romance options with her, and
I bet you like that.
Oh boy,
she was cute and funny.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and
sexy pirate.
And that's when John replayed the game a third and fourth time just to see the romantic scene again.
Yep,
sure.
Got to get all the options.
And then you can totally get your party members killed, or they can hate you to a certain point where they just leave and never come back. And I thought that dynamic was pretty cool.
Did you play Dragon Age 1, John?
I played through half of Dragon Age 1, which is a regret of mine. I wanted to play through the whole thing.
I mean, my opinion might be not the popular opinion, but I felt like Dragon Age 1 was superbly better than Dragon Age 2, the far superior game.
I think for the months and years following the release of 2, everyone agreed with you, Leo, and that's what made me, go back and play it. But then I think by now, especially with Inquisition, when that game came out, I think people have a little bit more respect for 2 than they did before.
Really?
Yeah. So
Man.
have you played the 3rd one?
No, I gave up on the series after the 2nd one. It was that
Really?
bad. It was that bad for me. Yeah.
You
But
just had to find that sexy pirate, man.
I guess that's what I was missing. Yeah. She must have been the hots.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
Not cool enough to be in your top 5 sexiest characters.
No, apparently not.
No, I mean, I think part of the problem too is the character design was not as cool as maybe like the 1st or 3rd game.
Low pixel boobies.
Well, like, I don't think the story was like super developed for each of the character backgrounds.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the boobies.
But it was still in your top 5 player influence stories, huh?
Yeah, I think that game was really cool.
All right. Okay. My number 1, I'm fairly confident we don't share number 1s.
No, I don't think we do. I'm
No, I don't.
100% sure we don't.
Yeah, I think I know what your number 1 is, and it's not mine. My number 1 is The Stanley Parable, a game all about multiple endings and exploring different choices to get to different endings. And this, none of the endings necessarily have anything to do with each other. So I guess you could accuse the Stanley Parable of being incoherent, but all of the endings have something to say about game design, about the nature of choice, about the nature of choices in games, about how choice versus the illusion of choice, or all these different smart things. That game is also way too smart for its own good. Very intelligent game. It has a lot to say about games and game design, and also it's just very entertaining. Like and then some endings are just there to entertain you, just there for jokes and funniness. And those are some of my favorite endings. And I am also very excited for the super deluxe remake or whatever the hell we're getting of the Stanley Parable, supposedly sometime this year.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my number 1, the Stanley Parable. Let me quickly explain what the hell this. I failed to explain what this game even is.
I think we already tried explaining it, and let's see what you say about it.
The basic premise is you're just a dude, and you're just all it is you walk. You just walk forward, back, or left, right, and there's a narrator who gives instructions. But the narrator preempts your actions when he gives instructions. So, like the classic, like one of the first things you do is you're walking in a corridor, you get to the end of the hallway, there's a door on the left and the door on the right, and the narrator says, Stanley takes the door on the left. But of course, you're in control, so you can choose to go on the door on the left and do what the narrator says, or go on the door on the right and totally ignore the narrator. And then it just spirals off in a million different ways. Yeah, there's
that
just a million
example right
endings.
there is Stanley Parable in a nutshell and why it's so great.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, my number 1 is just the greatest player chosen sort of story. It's silly, it's campy, it's awesome. It's called Until Dawn.
Oh, that is not what I thought you were going to pick. Okay.
What did you think I was going to pick? I'm curious.
I thought you were going to go with Shenmue.
No, because I mean, Shenmue.
Wow, I'm surprised Shenmue's not on the list now.
No, I mean, how is that a player-driven or interaction? Like
you can change a couple of things, can't you? Like talk to people and do different things.
It's just kind of like an open world. That's all.
Okay,
it's their version.
Never mind.
I mean,
just
like Shenmue has one specific story, like narrative.
Yeah,
that,
True.
That's it. There's no multiple. Yeah. Until Dawn. I think we talked about it before at some point. It's like a super tropey horror cliche kind of a thing, but you can choose kind of like who to save and who not to save in certain moments.
It's like a 80s teen slasher.
Yeah, teen slasher sort of movie. Yeah. Well, like it takes a lot of ideas from those kinds of movies. And yeah, there's multiple. I think. Well, I guess you can say they can end quickly or something if you make certain choices or not. I'm assuming. I don't really remember. I only
I
remember like the real end. Like I don't know if there's just like one true ending or not.
Yeah, I think you're basically always on the path to one ending, but
Yeah, yeah.
depending on what you choose or how quickly you react
It
or
can affect
whatever,
what characters are
you can
there.
affect
Yeah.
who lives, who dies, and a
Yeah.
couple of different ways things can happen a little differently.
Yeah. So, but it's just really fun. I remember that was a game that it's really fun to play with someone else in the room or other people in the room with you, like helping you make choices and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it was like watching one of those silly slasher films, you know. So I don't know, just really entertaining game. And that was for the PS3, I believe.
Yep, that's a great game to group play. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Until Dawn. That was it.
What you got, John?
Cool. My number one, you guys mentioned it before.
You always sound like the most cool. Anyway,
It's not impressed
I
with our
suck at
choices.
segues, so that's all. I'm not used to it.
cool. Well, here's my better thing.
Well, I wish I had more comments on your guys' games because I haven't played all of them. So
Well, this is the list for you to go play.
Yeah, there you go.
true. I do own Until Dawn. It's in shrink wrap still. I need to open it.
Oh my God!
probably,
Play that.
yeah.
Go play it right now.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your number one first.
Yeah, sure. My number one, Wolf Among Us.
Oh, wow. Okay,
nice.
cool. There you
That's
go.
a great
There's
number
some
one.
overlap.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think what you guys said pretty much covers a lot of what I was going to say about it. And then I was just going to add that the universe building in that game is excellent.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like the griminess and the darkness with like these like fairy tales that you've like grown up through Disney movies and stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a really cool contrast. I thought like there was one part of the story that explains like that, you know, how the characters hide amongst humans. Like they take this drug that's hard to come by or is like on short supply or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was like part of the mystery, like finding out like why that's where that drug is coming from or why, you know, like why it's being sold for so high or you know, like, and there's all these laws, like if you reveal yourself, like you pay fines or I don't, you know, there's all this like really cool universe building stuff. And then the other thing that I remember from that game was like the mention of other fables that I've never heard of before. Like apparently there's the Jersey Devil, and the game like brings it up once or twice, and like they show you like some of the stuff from that fable, and like that really piqued my interest. And I remember going on Wikipedia and reading about it. And like,
Isn't there like a team, like
cool.
isn't there like a sports team and everything, like the Jersey Devils?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I had no idea that originated from the fable or anything like that.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I thought it was just like another sports team, but yeah, that's pretty cool. That has like an origin in history, and it's like the Sasquatch, but from Jersey or whatever, you know.
The urban Sasquatch.
Exactly.
I correct me if I'm wrong, James, but is that our first three-way game that like?
That might be our first. That might be our first three-way.
It's our first three-way. Guys.
Did we?
Can we recycle the sounds from last episode? You know, for our first three-way.
Well, did we have any overlap on our games of the year? That's the only other thing I could think.
Smash.
Did we all go
Smash?
I think so.
I had Smash.
Yeah, but that was a given because I mean, Smash was the game we talked about. I mean that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it's our second three-way.
Fine.
I think it's only appropriate was in person and on Smash.
Oh,
how appropriate.
We smashed in our first three-way.
Right. How appropriate. All right. So the Wolf Among Us, add it to Smash as our in our Hall of Fame three-ways.
Yes.
Now I have to go back and listen if we've ever three-wayed in any other topic before.
I'm pretty sure we haven't. That felt like a rare occurrence right there.
All right. Well,
we might have two-wayed once. We might have two-wayed once.
Oh, we've two-wayed a ton of times.
Right, but then there was a third wheel.
Podcast, and I was just watching.
Yeah, that's true. And at the end, we all three-wayed.
Exactly. Got in
there. Yeah. Why does that make it so much more comfortable when you say that? Oh man!
All right,
I got in there.
John's choosing his own adventure right now.
Oh man.
I made a choice.
He chose to get in there.
Oh, boy.
This is the
All right.
true ending.
Very good. I'm gonna endorse some stuff. I've been down, you guys. I've been sad. I've been lamenting the lack of good Star Wars games for a while now. If you ask me, we have not had good Star Wars games since Knights of the Old Republic, which has been a long damn time since that game came out. So I've been filling the Star Wars video game shaped hole in my heart with Star Wars board games. I've been playing X-Wing Second Edition, which that's a little mini endorsement. It's a Star Wars miniatures games where you play with all the Star Wars spaceships. It's very good. Mini endorsement. There you go. But my actual endorsement is because I was playing X-Wing, the miniatures game. I was like, hey, it's a really good video game. TIE Fighter, Star Wars TIE Fighter, also Star Wars X-Wing, but I prefer TIE Fighter. Come on. Flying as the bad guys is so much better than flying as the good guys. So I've been... What? You disagree?
Yeah, but I mean, that's just a moral thing for me. Don't worry about
it. Empire forever, man.
All right, well.
You rebel scum. You rebel scum. So I spent, over the weekend, about 2 or 3 hours getting TIE Fighter to work properly. You can get it on GOG and get it on Steam. Sometimes it'll work okay out of the box, but because this game was originally released in 1993, it does take a little bit of tweaking to get it properly running in 2019 on a Windows 10 PC. The best way to play this game is with a flight stick, which I am fully aware that just about no one has a flight stick anymore. I have my old flight stick lying around just for TIE Fighter, but I spent a long time getting it to work properly on my controller and just mapping all of the buttons and everything. Anyway, I spent forever getting TIE Fighter to work. Hey, that game's still really, really fun.
Nice.
So if you're a giant Star Wars nerd, if you love flight simulators, if you love revisiting really old DOS games, I would strongly endorse Star Wars TIE Fighter. For my money, it is the best Star Wars video game ever made.
There's a couple of sort of space flight simulators in the works, under development / released with content coming out frequently. I think one of them is called I don't know, forget the names, but
there's several hyped one that's been in development for 10 years or something.
10 years, yeah. That one's called Star Citizen.
Talking about Star Citizen, that game.
But there's also another one. There's I forget the heck it's called, but a friend of mine plays it all the time, and it's very VR similar.
Are you talking about?
It's on Steam.
Oh God, it's like an MMO one.
Sort of, yeah.
It was kind of fun, actually.
I keep thinking Event Horizon, but that's not it, is it?
No, it's called
Elite Dangerous.
There you go. That's
Elite
it.
Dangerous.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
So Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, games like that are in the works and have a bit of hype. And I've played both of them, and it is really cool the way they're making those games. I think it'd be great if they took that idea and redid, a TIE Fighter or X-Wing game
that'd be great, but I have no confidence that will ever happen, especially with EA at the helm. It's just not gonna happen.
That's probably
their
true.
version is how can we grossly monetize this as hard as we can. I mean, I guess we're gonna see, because we're gonna get Jedi Fallen Order supposedly this year.
Yeah,
and supposedly there's some other game that might be coming out soon. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, Respawn's behind Jedi Fallen Order, so that is probably going to end up pretty good, in my opinion.
Or it might be really AAA, money grabbing, hey, you want lightsabers, right? And then they just kind of mess it up.
I have some.
Here's the thing going in that game's favor. My expectations are dirt low, so there's that.
The bar
So
is really
it's
low.
got a very low bar to clear to impress me. So there's that.
Yeah. All right. My endorsement for this week is another Netflix special. This one
Oh,
is much, much more entertaining, and I think it's one I've been recommending to a lot of people. Unlike Bandersnatch, which I was just kind of curious how you guys felt about it. But
well, now you know.
yeah. So this special is called Fire, Fyre. It is a documentary, Netflix original, I guess, um, that is about the fire festival that happened. This is like
Oh.
some sort of debacle that happened in 2012ish, 2013, where a rich entrepreneur guy who apparently got rich through some shady decision. Like he's basically like a rich con artist that convinced a lot of people to give him lots of money, and then he marketed this festival like a
Oh
music
yeah,
festival.
yeah. I heard about this.
He said he
Yeah.
bought an island. Him and Ja Rule like marketed this thing with all these models posting about it on Instagram. Actually, because of this story in the documentary, we now have some legal things where if you're a celebrity on Instagram, you have to say that you are saying something for money, like an ad, because
Oh.
basically they convince these people to spend thousands of dollars on tickets to go to an event that didn't happen. But it gets crazy, all the logistics that didn't happen, and the fact that they didn't tell anybody, it gets insane, and it's a lot of behind the scenes look on what happened and the
Is it a
aftermath.
documentary style or is it like a
Mhm.
recreation?
No, it's like I said, it's a documentary,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's probably the best. I would say it's a contender for like documentary of the year, for sure. Um,
Cool.
it's really really good. So, highly recommend you guys watch Fire.
Cool.
John, you gonna endorse him?
God damn it, John.
Oh, I'm waiting for like the signal to go ahead.
You can just talk. You can
Okay.
just go instead of
Okay.
having 10 seconds of dead space.
I like to clear
Followed
the
by
space.
cool.
Followed by cool. Anyway, it
Cool.
always sounds so sarcastic, like cool,
Cool.
Leo, great.
Cool.
No,
I'm
that
gonna
is
definitely
actually
go
pretty
watch
cool.
that.
I do want to watch that. I do.
You absolutely should watch it. I really
Yeah.
recommend it. And then when you
Yeah.
do watch it, there is a specific part that happens during an interview with a specific person, and you will know when it's the part that I'm talking about because I'll tell you I loved it and I was cracking up, and then I want you to tell me what you thought of it.
It's gonna be some crazy eccentric, like
Probably you will
mind
know. You
blowing
will
guy.
if you go watch the movie. You will know exactly what part I'm talking about. Some of you, oh, this is the part Leo's talking about, and then I want you to tell me and see if I was right.
Okay. Okay. I'll definitely do that. I'll let you know.
James, are you gonna let me know because you're gonna watch it
Yeah.
too?
I maybe I'll watch it. I
You
don't
should you
know.
should watch it.
Here's a third endorsement from me, and it's the same endorsement I made last week. I can't make any process because I'm still hooked on binging the Orville, so I'm just watching the Orville right now.
I tried. It's not on Netflix. I tried looking that up. Is
No,
it?
it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Okay.
Yeah.
Also on Hulu is a Fire documentary, by the way.
Oh.
I've not seen it yet, but apparently Netflix and Hulu both released original like documentary about this
Ooh,
event.
competing
Yeah, at
documentaries.
relatively the same
Wow.
time. Yeah. I haven't seen the Hulu one, but the Netflix one was lit, as you might say. So,
Oh, I like your double entendre there.
right,
That's
right,
good.
yeah,
It was on fire.
yeah, it was on fire.
Mm.
Okay. All right. My endorsement, you guys. Long.
Ready?
You know. The
Good transition.
Yeah. Clap.
Clap. What? Go. What is your endorsement, man?
Apex Legends. That game's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
really good.
So yeah, basically there was this announcement from the developers of Titanfall, Respawn. They're like, "Hey guys, we're not working on Titanfall, but here's this really cool game that we're releasing instead, and it's this battle royale. Like no Titans in the game, no more wall climbing." You're like, "What the hell? What is this? Like, I don't want this." But they released it the same day they debuted it, and a lot of people downloaded it, myself included, and gave it a shot. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's Battle Roy Evolve is how they're marketing it, and it's I mean
What? Say that again?
Battle Royale Evolved is what
Okay,
they market
gotcha.
the game as. Yeah. But I think it does a lot of things differently, and I'm not just saying that. It really does a lot of unique things. There's classes now, so there's special abilities for each of the characters. It's 3v3, v3, 20 squads of threes. Loot system's pretty streamlined. You can revive people when they fall, which I was playing a game earlier today, and both of my teammates died. And I picked them both up with my character, who could avoid damage for a certain period of time. So I leveraged her abilities, picked up my teammates, revived them, and we got second place, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
even
it's
after all
actually
that.
interesting because once you die in that game, like I think one of James's complaints is that you just had to like sit around and wait or something.
Watch and wait,
While
or
watch your
leave the
teammates.
game.
Yeah, you actually have a
Yeah.
chance to come back, which is interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool things that game does, and I thought at first that maybe it wouldn't be worth doing a podcast about, but I think you guys should take a look into it. Maybe we can do it.
Cool.
Cool. Anyway.
Cool. Anyway. No, I totally agree. Actually, I would say it a little differently. I don't think it does that many unique things, but it takes the best part of a lot of other different games
Yeah.
and puts them into one. Like you
Yeah,
can find a
absolutely.
lot of those things in other games. Like the classes and stuff are in like Realm Royale, and the ping system is in like Rainbow Six, and the classes are or what was the other thing? I forgot what else did you say there was?
Like the loot system with the coloring and all that
Yeah, that's kind of like from
from Diablo.
well, or the Fortnite. You know, they have the loot.
That's
colored.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So-
is true. They do have
yeah.
that in
But
Fortnite.
yeah, it's a game that is very polished and I think far more entertaining than Fortnite. So I think it's actually going to be the next really good battle royale.
I think by far the best thing that they've done with that game out of all the battle royale games is the gunplay, for sure.
Right.
thought-
It's like Fortnite with good gunplay, which is
Yeah.
what I've been saying. It would be really really good.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Cool.
your
Just
cool
taking
is way
John's.
too enthusiastic.
Yeah, that did sound cool.
There you go.
How's that?
Cool.
A little more sarcastic. All right. So, is that an episode? We good?
I think so.
I think so.
Nailed
All right.
it.
Good. Nailed it. We nailed it. I am going to choose my own adventure and choose to sign off from this podcast. So,
Is that the
for
true
the-
ending then?
yeah, this is gonna be the true ending. This is a very linear podcast. It's gonna end soon.
Good choices, you guys. You
no matter-
picked the right ones.
Yeah, thanks.
The three-way in particular
yeah.
was a great choice.
That's definitely the true ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the Good Games podcast, I am James.
I'm Leo, or am I?
And I'm John.
Goodbye. Next
See
week
ya.
we're going to see ya. Next week we're going to be entering
Talk
the.
about-
You guys can choose to sign off. This is an ending.
There you go. Yeah, you can choose to close this podcast right now. That could be an ending, or you could choose to keep listening. That's an alternate ending. Next week we're going to be talking about entering the Japanese underworld of crime, and we're going to be talking about the Yakuza series. Right? Is that what we ended on? Good. All right. Yakuza 0, I think specifically.
I'm excited. I'm currently playing through it, so I'm
You
gonna
guys
wrap
are
Good.
butchering the pronunciation of Yakuza.
it up.
No,
I think that's wrong.
no. I don't think it's
You're right.
Yakuza.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Yakuza.
Are you shitting me?
Yakuza.
There's no. It's not a hard "kuz" sound. It's not Yakuza, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
What?
I
All
don't-
right. Now I'm gonna go
I'm
to
pretty
a
sure it's
pronunciation.
Yakuza.
Yeah, Yakuza. Yeah.
You
Just,
guys are so
um,
Western.
Go ahead and just inject like a Japanese text-to-speech translator right
Yeah.
here.
Here we go. Right here. I'm gonna. Okay. Yakuza. Yakuza. Yeah, that's how he's saying it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yakuza, not Yakuza.
Are you sure? I don't trust
Yes.
your.
I just heard a Japanese man
Yeah.
say it in my ear twice.
Doesn't mean you're saying it correctly after him.
Oh, all right, here we go. Here's.
Well, John, you might be thinking about
I just heard another lady say Yakuza.
what?
There's competing ones. There's
Hold
competing
on.
ones.
Which is the right way?
Oh my god.
Hold on. Wait.
Oh no.
Do we,
Okay, wait a minute.
Do we need a guest star, like someone for next episode, like just like a resident Japanese person to like?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Help us out with this
now
episode?
there's so many different ones. Okay, here.
I can
what's this
maybe
one?
make that happen.
Okay, make that happen, John. I know a guy who goes to Japan every year, but he's just some white dude. So I don't
Yeah, I
trust
know
him.
a white dude who lives in Japan, so I don't know if
Yeah.
that counts.
That doesn't count. I have a Malaysian.
Oh my god. There's a whole argument on how to pronounce this word. No one knows how to pronounce it. Oh no.
Not even Japanese people know.
Pick your own choosing.
Oh, choose your own adventure.
Oh my god.
What's the true ending? I need to know the true ending.
There is no true ending.
All right, for the Good Games podcast, I'm done.
See ya.
Goodbye. Hello, it's James. I am just here to let you know that the following segment contains spoilers for the 2010 game Heavy Rain. So, if you do not wish to be spoiled, do not listen to the next segment. And if you don't mind being spoiled, then enjoy. It's pretty campy. It gets pretty ridiculous, but I quite enjoyed this game.
I love that game.
Can I say
Yeah.
the spoiler for that game?
Yeah, I'll put this audio at the end or something, just in case people don't want to get spoiled on Black Mirror.
Isn't the killer the detective?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't played that game. I was just making...
What is that all you had to say? Is that the only thing you had to say?
Yeah.
You just wanted to spoil it and then be like, all right, cool.
Yeah. I was. Did you want me just to say the spoiler and be like, spoiler?
Yeah.
But that's what you did.
Yeah.
Well, I think he just wanted to warn people first, you know?
Exactly.
Oh, God. Well, there goes my promise to not yell into the microphone.
Yep. Again, you wouldn't be James if you didn't yell at least once.